do anything special for 400 episodes of Rage Select. I was like, it isn't in the budget for balloons. I don't have any streamers laying around. Like, it's just 400 podcast episodes is honestly too many podcast episodes. And then I was like, hey, Jason Murphy, you used to be on this podcast a long time ago. Do you want to come back on? Do you want to do that milestone thing on YouTube?
Yeah. Is this the podcast, the comics with the cartoon, like what was his name? Leon?
No.
Cyrus?
No.
Is that?
No, this isn't that. This isn't that. This is the thing that came after that.
Is this a Brushwood thing?
This isn't that. No, it isn't that either. I'm also not Brian Salisbury. This isn't Junk Food Cinema. Nope.
I don't know what I'm doing here then, honestly. I mean,
no, it's the Rage.
Time.
It's the Rage Select podcast. It's the Rage Select podcast. Used to be on here. We're talking about video games.
Oh, they're still making video games.
Yeah,
that's wild. That's crazy.
Yep. So welcome back, everybody, to the Rage Select podcast. I'm Jeff.
I'm Jason.
Wow, amazing. I think, Jason, I made you, like, when we started up Rage Select, I've told the story a few times in the past about how, like, when we started up Rage Select, you and I just recorded, like, there was nobody else. It was just you and me. And so we recorded, like, 4 days a week, everything. Every video, every podcast, every puppet intro. Like, it was all, Jason's just lived at my house for a little while, but
it was, you were a vicious taskmaster. And sometimes he brought me Wiener Schnitzel, but he insisted, guys, you need to know this. Jeff insisted on feeding me the chili cheese dogs.
Well, sure.
Not slowly either. Just like open, and then he'd like just cram a full chili cheese dog in there and say, now podcast monkey.
Isn't that
talk about games.
Is that how you're supposed to do it? I read Elon Musk's book on how to be a good manager, and it said shove the food into their mouth, but don't do it slow because you got things to do. You don't want them lollygagging and chewing. Just
you got to cram that Wiener Schnitzel right down your greasy gamer gullet and rock the house with some chili slathered podcasts.
Hey man, I will tell you this: I've never in my life made any other human being, including myself, eat gamer fuel for hashtag content. So, like,
let's do it. Let's do it.
Do they even make gamer fuel anymore? Is that still a thing?
I think there are like different variants on it. So apparently it's still a thing. It's like, when normal food isn't enough for you, we're going to give you something that's extra high in salt and sugar because we know you're getting a lot of exercise. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like gamer fuel. How about a gamer diaper? Gamer branded diapers. For the diehard.
But like cloth diapers, right? You want to be environmentally sensitive with your gamer diaper. You don't want to be just like throwing away a bunch of disposable diapers. You want like a good a locally sourced, green diaper.
I want Ubisoft branded diapers.
Well, that would be somewhat, man, there is a joke in there about Ubisoft being full of shit. But we have to get this show started because we have a lot to get through this week. A lot of it involving Ubisoft. But before we do, this is the part of the podcast where we talk about other stuff. So I have something cool to put in the thumbnail. Jason, I watched 2 movies last week.
Cool.
Which one do you want to hear about?
The good one first.
Okay. I watched I'm actually really curious to know about this. Have you ever heard of the movie The Empty Man?
No.
Okay.
I am not familiar. I know The Quiet Man with John Wayne, I think. The Slender Man. The Bye-Bye Man, didn't see that one. The Manchurian Mandate, that's what it's called, right? That's all. The Wolf Man. I've seen Spider-Man.
Superman.
Superman, Batman,
Mm-hmm.
Captain America man. No, I don't know the Empty Man. What is the Empty Man?
All right, so I from time to time I listen to this podcast that some ex-cracked guys called We Just Watched, and they just kind of review movies, and from time to time they have Jason Pargin, aka David Wong, on, and I really like listening to that guy. And he was talking about this, and this was a movie where it was like this director, and he made the movie under Fox, and then like while they were making the movie, like when they were done shooting, and I think that this is, you guys should totally go listen to the episode that goes over this, because I'm just cribbing all this details, but I think you can really identify with this. Like the worst thing happened where like the guy at Fox who was like their advocate like left. So suddenly
that
it was
has
like
happened.
Yeah, it was just like
that
total
has happened to me.
total production limbo, and then Fox got acquired by Disney. So it was like further in limbo, and then they cut together this trailer for this movie, and if you go on the internet and you watch it, it makes the movie look like Slender Man or Bye Bye Man. It's like, oh, have you heard the story? If you find a bottle on a bridge and blow into it, the empty man will come, and like on the first day you'll hear him, and on the second day you'll see him, and on the third day you meet him, and it's smash cut to a bunch of action, and there's teens and stuff. It's totally not that movie. Like it's 100% not that movie. It's
okay.
It's 2 hours and 20 minutes long. First of all, yeah, and like that.
Are the Avengers in it?
No, it's actually a lot closer to something like Hereditary or like the Babadook or Midsummer or something like that. It's like one of these like weird, like
one of those artsy A24 horror movies. Yeah. That really make you feel terrible about things that aren't related to the monster, and then the monster shows up. It's like Hereditary's like, oh, well, this movie is a horrible nightmare. And then the spooky stuff starts.
Yeah. So no, it's one of those, and it's got like a kind of it's got like a 50 on Metacritic, and it's got a kind of a bad user score, and I think a lot of it was because it got marketed as this Bye Bye Man movie, and then it's just not that. So it's like this 2.5 hour psychological like whack job, and then teenagers went to go see it. And they were like, what is this? This is stupid. Like, I didn't come here to watch this guy drive around in an SUV for 2.5 hours. Like, I came here to see the teens get slashed, and like, no teens really get slashed in that movie.
No teens get slashed?
The one
teens got to get slashed. That's what teens are for in movies. You slash them.
One teen gets slashed, and it's almost like they condensed all of horror movies into one scene with like violence and nudity, and then like what just happened, and it's like 1 5-minute part of this whole 2.5 hour movie.
Okay, so you're saying that was the good one?
No, I thought they were both good. Like I watched it, and the thing is that it's really hard because I feel like if you say too much about it, like okay, it's one of those things where if you say too much about it, you're going to ruin some of the like, oh my god, what's going on here? But if you don't say anything about it, people are going to start it and be like, what the fuck am I even watching here? Like why am I? What is this? Like you have to be. What I'm saying is that you need to be ready to watch Midsummer, not like Psycho Gorman, right? Like if you go in wanting to watch Psycho Gorman, you're going to be like, this is stupid. Jeff is a liar. Fuck that guy. But if you go in wanting to watch something that's like slower and a little bit more psychological, I thought it was good personally. But
I say that when I'm watching most movies. This is stupid. Jeff is a liar. And then Allison says, why are you? He just is.
He didn't even tell you to watch this. He doesn't even watch movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff just makes up movies like The Empty Man. That's what we should do. We should start a podcast where we just review movies that just don't exist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Actually, I did that on Junk Food Cinema one time. So.
Nice. The other one I watched was Wrath of Man, that Guy Ritchie, Jason Statham robbery revenge thing that came out like 2 weeks ago.
What is it called again?
It's called Wrath of Man, and it's it's like Jason Statham is working, like the trailer is like Jason Statham is working for this armored car company, and the armored car gets jacked, and then he jumps out of the armored car and just like brutally murders like 19 people that are trying to jack the armored car. But I also really like that one. I don't know.
It was good. So he like kicked some ass and in it, and he had some martial arts and like saved the day because he's a hard ass British guy who doesn't take any crap. Is that the movie?
Sort of
that Jason Statham movie.
I would say it's more like the bank job than it is like his stuff in like the Fast and Furious, because it's very much a serious movie. Like I saw a lot of reviews for it that were like 0 out of 10. Jason Statham doesn't even tell one joke in this movie, and I'm like, well, I remember when there were movies where Jason Statham was just kind of playing it like straight as a hard ass. And then like the movie also, it's not one of these movies where it like kind of tells the same story from like 3 different directions, and so there's a lot of going over the same incident to recontextualize it. And I think that some people might get a little thrown off by the fact that there's a certain point where Jason Statham just ceases to be like, they just totally divert the movie to a second set of characters to explain what's going on, and then it takes like 20 minutes to get back to Jason Statham action man. So again, closer to the bank job than like Fast and Furious or Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels or anything like that. But
I've seen one of those. I saw Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. I saw the first Fast and Furious, and then I decided there are how many more? Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good right there. I just need one. That's all. I just sent you a link to my favorite Jason Statham performance. Actually,
is that in the best seat in the house from the Clorox toilet wand? I see. That's
Yep. He's doing Clorox toilet commercials now. No, it's you're gonna like this one. It is called I think it's The Shaman. It's spelled. It's weird. And the song is called "Coming On."
Okay,
it's on YouTube. It is Jason Statham's best performance by far. You should watch it immediately. He shows up in, it's not really, I mean, he's a supporting character in it, but he makes it, right? I mean, look at that. Look at that.
What am I looking at? This is amazing.
You're looking at a greased up Jason Statham in a leopard print Speedo, just getting his groove on.
Dancing in front of a bunch of like flowers, and like some kind of D-Light ripoff band is going on here. Wow.
This video was actually called Statham Needs Rent Money.
When did this happen? This is 2008?
Well, it was uploaded in 2008. I think this is pre-Transporter, pre-Expendables, pre-Dignity. This is before they invented Dignity. So
the 90s, that's what you're saying?
Yeah. I don't recommend you listen to it. Just imagine. But you know, it's hypnotic, right? I mean,
it is.
It's just so tan and greasy and oily, and
I feel like I want this to be my new screensaver if I still had a screensaver on my laptop or my system.
People still do screensavers because I want Jason Statham dancing in a Speedo.
Also,
I can get kicked out of the Starbucks.
It's also really weird because this video is giving me eye cancer. It's at 240p and it was uploaded off of like a VHS tape, and it's so low resolution that at certain points this one of the main singer guys looks a lot like a 90s Eminem. Like I just keep going, is that Eminem? Is Eminem in the Mushroom D-Light video with Jason Statham? It's the SHAMEN, the Shaman. You got to look up "Coming On."
It's good stuff.
It is. Well, I tell you what. Before we get into it, Jason, have you been watching, listening, doing anything recently that you want to tell people about?
Nope. Man, I'm just working. That's all I do. I'm working. Soon I'm going to have the prequel novella. I've been saying that for a while. Soon I'm going to have the prequel novella to Killer Candy. The Occultex book mixtape will be coming out.
Okay.
So watch for that on Amazon. Eventually, the cover's drawn. There's some work that the cover's made. There's some work that needs to be done. It'll be out soon, so check that out. And of course, on Modern Rogue. But as far as stuff I've been watching and what have you, Savage Avengers. Been reading Savage Avengers, which is basically just an excuse for Conan to run around the current Marvel universe. And It's wonderful.
I can imagine.
So good. It's actually has led to a wonderful scene of Conan the Barbarian eating tacos on the street in Mexico with venom. And it is such a stupid idea, and it works. And it's great. Savage Avengers. Jerry Duggan is writing it. I can't remember the artist. Maybe it's Mike Deodato. I'm not sure. Can't recall. But yeah, fun stuff. Been reading that. Just finished up Broad City on Comedy Central. That first 3 seasons of that are absolutely hysterical. And yeah, what else? Watched Nobody.
It's okay.
Which was like, hey, let's make John Wick again, but he's a suburban dude.
Yeah,
and it's fun. It's a good movie. It is definitely like, I love Nobody. You know, Bob Odenkirk gets pushed too far. Turns out he's a badass and beats up all these guys. But it is very much the 40-year-old suburban white guy going, well, you know, if I could kick ass if I really had to. Nobody knows how much of a badass I am. Not even my wife. If I'm pushed, you don't what the storm is coming. Oh yeah, I am the storm. You know, it's like, okay, go back to your job at the insurance agency, jackass.
Yeah, except the thing that was weird about that movie was how much it turns into Home Alone at the end, where it's like,
yeah,
all this goofy improvised weaponry, and it's like, you guys just use the guns. Just, you don't need to shoot people with rebar. You can shoot them with a machine gun. Like,
right?
Yeah,
it's a fun movie though. I liked it.
Well, speaking of shooting people with shit that you would find in a hardware store, last week we finally got the worldwide gameplay reveal trailer for Far Cry 6. And there's a lot here. Did you watch, let me ask you before we get into this, Jason, like, where's your head at Far Cry in terms of Far Cry? Are you like thumbs up for Far Cry, thumbs down for Far Cry? Like, I'll see how it goes.
I'm thumbs up for Far Cry.
Okay.
I haven't really invested any time in the last couple of them because after a point it's like, oh, the story's good, but the game it's the same thing, you know, and which is not bad, you know, if it ain't broke. There are a couple of Far Cries that I just absolutely loved. They all kind of run together for me though. Like, what, 4? Maybe it was 4. I think 4 was a really good one. What was the one with Pagan Men? Was that 4?
Yep, that was 4.
That was great. That was amazing.
Absolutely.
And I didn't play Primal really. I think I borrowed it from you and just didn't ever play it, which is usually what I do when I borrow games from you. And I didn't play the most recent one. I heard
5.
Yeah, 5. I guess that's, since the new one is 6, then 5 is that's how numbers work.
Well, there was 5, and then there was New Dawn, which was like the weird post-apocalyptic spin-off of 5, where, because at the end of 5, there's a weird subplot that happens where like nukes are gonna drop, and then like New Dawn takes place like in a weird kind of semi-Fallout style future after that. Like,
okay.
5 is a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we played 5 on the show, right?
Yeah, me and Brian.
Oh, wait. I wasn't there?
No, it was you and me and Brian. All three of us.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you said me and Brian, and I was like, I wasn't there? I think I was there, right? I didn't remember. I thought, oh, no, I wasn't there. I just remembered all of the memories.
Ever since the Modern Rogue, I just look at you and Brian, and there's just an amalgamation of your two faces shoved together, like at the end of Time Cop. Yeah.
That's what it feels like sometimes. This new one, this trailer, you sent me, you said, hey, you should watch these you sent me all the links to prep for the show, and you said, hey, you should watch these, especially this Far Cry trailer. And then you send me a 40-minute trailer, Jeff.
Jason,
hey, you should watch this. It's 40 minutes long.
It's not 40 minutes long. It's the live stream. So only the last 10 minutes are actually video of Far Cry. Like if you watch the 2 trailers that I sent in addition to that, that was all there was outside of a guy being like, "Oh, welcome back to Far Cry. We're doing our best to do blah 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 blue blue blue." It was mostly just this introducing the character and then the kind of the action gameplay thing.
I skipped ahead. It looks really cool. But you were supposed to send me the Far Cry trailer and not Just for 6 or whatever this. Just Cause 6 or whatever. This looks, it's like, is this a Just Cause game? When do we get to like pull Jeeps off the highway and into the air? It's, I don't know. The setting immediately made me think of wherever the Just Cause games are set. But
yeah, it does. I mean, like the uniforms on these bad guys definitely look like this generic Just Cause. Like there's a lot of big red patches on them.
Yeah, but I actually really like Just Cause, and I like Far Cry. But looking at the gameplay on this, it's like, wow, this is a really original setting for a game. I mean, it feels like it's like a Cuba proxy, basically, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they actually, even in some of the articles that I sent over, they talked about how the design team went to Cuba and like talked to revolutionaries down there, and that was kind of like their basis for making, I believe it's called Yara, which is the kind of fictitious version that they're doing here. But like it's like, okay, it's like there's palm trees and old cars and cigars and revolution and this dictator, and it's like, why don't you guys just make this shit Cuba? Like, why don't you just like I don't know. Are you worried about making Cuba mad? Like you're gonna lose all the sales in Cuba for your new Far Cry game? But I don't know. I'm kind of trying to come to terms with this because I've gotten really salty about Ubisoft over the last few years. And the main thing that I'm getting off of this is like, I'm glad that the main character has a voice. The voiceless protagonist in 5 didn't make any fucking sense considering the things that were happening in 5.
Sure.
But then everything else just looks like Far Cry with a different skin on it. Like it looks very pretty, but it looks like, here's a jungle, you got rebel camps, you're going up against this dictator, you're going to get cars and put things on them, you're going to get guns, and you're going to make weird weapons. Like they've got this new backpack thing where you can equip different backpacks that have different functions, different things that shoot out of them. And like in the weapons trailer, there was some fun stuff there, like, oh, well, now instead of a bear, you can have a crocodile or a little wiener dog as your animal pal. But a lot of this is just like, it's just Far Cry again. Like, yeah. And I feel like the franchise has been the same since 3. That like it's just been the bow is back, the wingsuit and the grappling hook from 4 are back. Like, but that it's just a new coat of paint on the exact same game that we've been playing for years, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just, I think I have this thing with Ubisoft these days, Jason, where I'm just like, they seem to just be making the same game over and over again in a lot of ways.
I remember years ago when I said, why isn't there just a standard control setting for all video games?
Yeah.
And just make them play where the controls are the same. Over the past few years, I've realized that's a terrible idea, because I was playing some Assassin's Creed game a while back, and I'm like, this is a great game. I've played it like 6 times already. Mm-hmm. And so I just took the Assassin's Creed Greece or whatever, Sparta, I don't remember, and I just uninstalled it because it's like, yeah, this is really cool, but I don't need any more of this right now. It's like, I'm good. I don't know if I can do one a year or every 2 years, because they're so big, they're so involved, they take a lot of time, which is great, but I just don't know how excited I can get for just a different skin on the same thing over and over.
Yeah, and the other thing that I mean, I don't know about other people. Like I know that you and I mean, I know Brian really likes the Far Cry series, but I don't know if this is the same for you. But whenever I play Far Cry, there comes a point later on in the game, like early on in the game, when you're a little bit limited and you're just like, I'm going to sneak over here and try to take a few guys out. And at the end of the game, I'm always just like, all right, I'm going to get a helicopter gunship and drop bombs on the nearest outpost. I'm going to jump out, shoot people with rocket launchers, make my bear maul the rest, and then get out the 50 cal and just go to town on whoever's still standing. Rinse and repeat until the game is over, and it starts to become very methodical, right? You're going to go. There's not. That's maybe the thing that I think I'm missing with Far Cry, and it's one of the things that Ubisoft games I feel like I've been missing a little bit over the years, is that it just feels like in Assassin's Creed, it just feels like you're kind of doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Like it doesn't feel like, well, this outpost is different because you have to take it at nighttime because there's no sight lines to sneak in during the day, or like this mission, you could unlock this secret underwater passage that you could get into if you do this submission first. Like that level of complexity that we see in a lot of modern open world games, or that we maybe should be seeing more in modern open world games. It's kind of like when you and I were playing Red Dead, and you know, when we were playing episode 55 of Red Dead, and the least interesting part of Red Dead was the part where you go to a place and shoot guys, because it was just like, I'm just gonna go to the place, I'm gonna get my shotgun, I'm gonna shoot these guys, the end.
Agree to disagree, Jeff.
Okay, all right.
Jeff prefers, what I really wanted out of Red Dead was like, I don't know, 3 more hours of riding around in the snow before anything happens in the beginning of the game. But yeah, no, you're right. It is, they paint it up a little differently, but it's still the same formula. And it's one of those where, it's kind of like, oh, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Because if you think about, okay, so I was a big, Real Big Fish fan, the ska band from the 90s. I still like them a lot. And then I listened to their latest album and I was like, oh yeah, this is classic Real Big Fish that I've heard every album since 1997.
I could just be listening to Turn the Radio Off again.
Again, yeah. And it's like, okay, do they change? Do they start doing things different and piss people off? Or do they just keep doing what they're good at and eventually lose everybody's interest? It's a hard thing to walk. It's like a hard line to walk. Do you innovate a lot, or do you stick with what you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll be interested, because there's also the other half of the other side of that coin is the whole, like, there is also something. I know that a lot of the reason that people play these games, or like the Assassin's Creed games, or like the Division, some of the Ubisoft stuff, is that it's very easy to just kind of like work through the map, like make the icons turn X's over them, like, just, I don't have a lot of time to put into this, and I'm just looking to blow off some steam, and so I'm gonna fucking put on a YouTube video and put on the latest Red Letter Media video and take out 3 outposts in Far Cry, and then I'm gonna have dinner and go to bed, right? Like, yeah, there is something to that as well. It's just that I feel like all of the Ubisoft games have gotten into this weird crunch where I feel like the only new thing I've seen from Ubisoft over the last few years has been that Immortals Phoenix Rising, and that was obviously like a throwaway, we need something for Q4 of 2020 project that was just built on top of the existing Assassin's Creed engine and then ripped off Breath of the Wild. Like,
oh yeah,
which isn't bad, but
So they've got Assassin's Creed, they got Far Cry, they have the Division, they have
Rainbow Six.
Rainbow Six, yeah. And a lot of those play very similarly.
Watch Dogs as well.
Watch Dogs, yeah, yeah. Which, I mean, that's their thing, and they're, doing quite well. But it's like, you got to think that there's diminishing returns for that. Because it's like, you got to innovate to keep people's interest, right?
Yeah, I think so, but I don't know. Ubisoft seems to be doing pretty well at this point. But let's go over a few of the things here. Some of the stuff that they announced. Let's see. The main character is going to have a voice, and they actually are going to have 2 different gendered protagonists, so you can choose whether you want to be a guy or a lady, and then you can equip stuff. It looks like from the from the gameplay footage that we're seeing that like in Far Cry 5 at least, and I think it was the same in 4. It actually might have been the same all the way down. It seems like you see the protagonist in the cutscenes way more. It used to just be you're getting a briefing from first person perspective, so like you never really see what your character looks like. Like I couldn't tell you what the main character of Far Cry 4 even looked like, but those trailers had a lot of like seeing the main character, seeing them have dialogue with other people, which is fun. Let's see. There's going to be no arcade mode or map editor this time around, which is probably good because I don't know anybody who really was that invested in that whole feature. They are going to have, it wasn't in the trailers, but they are going to have the grappling hook and the wingsuit are going to be back. It looks like the companions are just going to be animals. There's not going to be like, was it like Hunk or who's the guy that was like in all those games that was like your buddy that anyway,
Luigi.
Yes.
No, that's it.
I wonder, some of them have also had like online multiplayer, haven't they, where you can go in there with actual, like you can co-op. I believe so.
That makes sense. I mean, God, a co-op Far Cry, that sounds pretty cool, actually.
I think it's been there since like 4.
Oh yeah? I've never played it.
Let's see. We have a release date of October 7th, which is pretty cool. We also have, they also came out and explicitly, because there's a big AMA that happened after this reveal where they talked to one of the main developers, where they said that they are going to be showing off the PS4 and Xbox One versions to avoid the whole Cyberpunk thing where all the footage is from next-gen versions and the last-gen versions look like shit. I wouldn't expect that to be as much of a thing with Ubisoft, considering the fact that they have developed for multiple generations multiple times in the past.
Right.
They tend to be a little bit better about that, but for that particular thing, we'll be seeing more of that. And then there's actually a whole other thing where, okay, there was a quote where they said like, or there was a quote where somebody was like, nah, this game isn't political. This game about overthrowing Cuba with the revolutionaries, it's not political at all. And then like I think that they've learned that when they say that, they get bad press, because then like the main director of the game, Navid Kavari, came out and was like, no, this is totally political. But then they were very specific, like to say, one of the quotes from him is, but if anyone is seeking a simplified binary political statement specifically on the current political climate in Cuba, they won't find it. And it's like, well, wait a minute. If this isn't about Cuba, then what politics are you talking about?
It's about Yara, Jeff.
Okay.
It's political, like the prequel Star Wars movies were political. It's all make believe. We're not making real statements about anything.
I think that they should, if you guys want to use modern, I mean, I don't know, like, fine, fuck it, whatever, Ubisoft, just like you already made the game about how the fundamentalist religious leader is trying to take over middle America, and that wasn't political. And you made the one about how only the secret society of gun-toting special forces operatives can save America. That one wasn't political. You know, why don't you guys just drop the veneer and just be like, they're all political because it sells better, because you guys connect to it, and we want it to have a thing. I mean, at least it's not as bad as that mobile game trailer that was, you probably didn't even hear about that.
I have no idea. What is it, a Far Cry mobile game?
It was a Ubisoft mobile game that was about like all of the characters from like Splinter Cell and like The Division and Ghost Recon, and they were all like teaming up. So it was one of those gachapon, like you got to get a bunch of characters from all the different Ubisoft games. But the intro for it was like, revolution has sprung up all over the world, and then they had like pictures of like fist iconography, and it's like, but they're all being manipulated by this secret organization that's fomenting rebellion and manipulating the masses into trying to overthrow the democratically elected people. And everybody was like, ooh, this isn't a good look there, Ubisoft. So But anyway, so we had that, and we got the release date, and I think that's kind of most of what we've got. There's probably a little bit more. Part of you watched the trailer with all the weapons in it, right? Where they had like the Macarena gun and the chain gun and all that stuff. Do you know what I'm talking
Yes.
about? Okay.
Yeah, and the weird like mortar backpack, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, like again, a lot of this may have come off as kind of negative, but like I don't want anybody to think that like it looks legitimately like a good game. It's just that I've gone through this song and dance before of Ubisoft being like, look, here's a new game, and it's like this is just an old game with a different coat of paint on it. And you're like, right, but you like the old game, right? You want it again, and so I'm a little cynical about it. But it's not like I'm not going to play it. Like even if I wasn't doing Rage Select, I would at least get this game and check it out or see what the word of mouth was on it. I just wish that they would take some risks moving forward as opposed to just kind of, I mean, like what if you set a Far Cry game and it was it was all in a big city, right? Like it was a huge city, and instead of making like this big empty land like they have in a lot of their other games, what if you made like Far Cry Los Angeles? I mean, they would call it something else, right? But then like make the buildings able to be gone into and have like all these kind of mission stories, kind of like Yakuza, but with more machine guns and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's weird. Maybe that doesn't work. I was about to say maybe they should put
what's
like
with all these exotic places. Give us Far Cry Des Moines.
That's what Far Cry 5 was. Was this like in the middle of Montana?
Oh, yeah. You gotta go hold the Burger King.
That's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, right? Where you have to hold the Burger
is. Yeah. Okay. Fine. It's all been done.
Yeah. So yeah, from there we also got another trailer for Far Cry VR, which it seems this is another one where it's kind of a really weird thing. Did you get a chance to watch this one, Jason?
I don't know that I did. I don't think so.
This is the one where it was like, the Far Cry VR, dive into insanity, and it was like Far Cry 3 with Voss, but then it's not like a PSVR. It's for one of those like you go to the center at the mall and you pay to rent out for an hour, and they just made like a Far Cry like rail shooter where you and your buddies put on the backpacks and go in the big room and then shoot Voss and company. And so I don't know. I was like excited when I put this on the list, and then I watched the trailer and I was like, oh, okay, that's all right.
I mean, that's pretty cool, but going to a mall and putting on goggles that probably weren't appropriately disinfected. It's like, Far Cry, the pink eye experience.
Now, how did the pink eye get into the goggles? Oh, I see. Somebody else had pink eye. I was trying to figure out how somebody farts into a VR headset, but
I always put my butt all over the VR goggles when I'm done.
I have to disinfect guys, I'll be right back. We're going to take a break. I got to go disinfect my VR headset.
It's not just the headset, Jeff.
Oh,
There's
no.
all sorts of things. Over the years, I kept a running log of how many things in your house I could rub on my butt.
Oh, my goodness.
You should wash your dog.
Speaking of things that you want to look at really good with your eyes, I don't know. We got a trailer. We got some new RTX cards, and we got a trailer for Doom Eternal running on the GeForce RTX 3080 at 4K with ray tracing and RTX turned on. Have you been keeping up with the whole RTX ray tracing Nvidia thing, Jason?
Every now and then I'll check in on it and I'll see, reflections. Okay. It's like, I mean, after a certain point, everything is just like, I don't know. It's just improvements by inches. And I'm watching this video that's supposed to be super impressive about with and without RTX. And it's like, I'm sorry. If you didn't have them side by side, I couldn't really tell the difference. I wouldn't notice while I was playing unless it's just something remarkably better. And I just don't have a very trained eye. It looks beautiful either way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Doom is one of those games that has such a good art style that in a lot of ways the art style can buoy up a lot of the. I mean, if you want to measure details like Digital Foundry, you will definitely see that there is a difference. But considering just the problem that I keep having with the whole RTX thing is like, I would like to buy one of these video cards, but one, they're unavailable, and two, this video card, this RTX 3080 that they just announced, is $1,119. So I mean,
also you can't get it anyway. So
well, that's true. Yeah, and I mean, let's be honest. The 3080 Ti at $1,200 is $300 less than the 3090. But like the thing is that when you're up into this level of video cards, it's like you have to have a really expensive power supply and like cooling solution, and it's just too much, man. Also, you can't get them, so
yeah.
Like,
yeah. I'm not. I know. PC gamers, you're into that. That's your thing. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I do not have the time, the interest, or the money. It's like, oh yeah, I spent $1,500. Why? Oh, well, look at the reflection of the demon on the floor. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Well, the thing is that let's do a thought experiment here and say that, like, let's pretend that you could go buy all the electronics that you wanted in the store, right? For $1,200, Jason, you could buy a Xbox Series X and a PlayStation 5, or a PlayStation 5 and a full 4K TV to play your PlayStation 5 on. Like, $1,200 is not chump change, man. That's like
bonkers.
Like, I need to get my teeth fixed, or like my couch needs replacement, or like, and that's just the video card. Like, you also have to have a CPU and the RAM and the bus and the motherboard to be able to keep up with that shit. Like, I like Linus Tech Tips as much as the next guy on YouTube, but I watch it like it's tech porn, not something that I aspire to.
Yeah, I love how you said, well, you buy this 3080, or you could buy two other things that you have no chance of getting your hands on.
Sure.
A PS5 and an Xbox Series X1, whatever. God, I hate the naming convention. Microsoft, I know you're listening. Change the names on your consoles. This is so stupid. It's just so stupid.
Don Matrick is probably listening, but it was only because back in the day. So
I mean, I know they put at the car wash, they put the Rage Select podcast on so Don can hear it all the time.
So yeah, they basically, Nvidia announced these two new cards, the 3080 Ti and the 3070, I believe is the other one, 3070 Ti. This is so goddamn granular that I don't think that anybody listening is really like, the 3080 Ti is supposed to replace the 2080 Ti, which used to be their kind of top of the line thing before the 3090s came out. You're running into the same thing that we're just talking about with the Xbox, where it's like Nvidia has like, there are now, I believe, 5 different video cards: the 3050, the 3070, the 3070 Ti, the 3080 Ti, the 3090. Like, it's like there's a lot here. The big thing is that I think is going to be interesting in this one is that they are putting in like a software patch to try to limit the amount, or to try to disable these cards as crypto mining cards.
Oh, good.
So, but that's at the software level. I'm sure that hackers will get around it. And then, crypto wasn't the only reason that you can't get a video card. Like, you can't get a PS5 and that thing can't mine crypto. So, it wasn't all crypto's fault that this stuff has been impossible to find.
Yeah, there's also the worldwide chip shortage.
Mm-hmm.
Supply chain issues and scalpers and all that nonsense.
Yep. They also announced, though, that DLSS, which is the AI upsampling that they've been using to get like really high frame rate 4K and even 8K stuff, I believe, is going to be getting, let's see, Doom Eternal and Icarus, which is the next game from the DayZ guy, Lego Builder's Journey, are getting DLSS and ray tracing. Red Dead Redemption 2 and Rainbow Six Siege are getting DLSS only. Which is pretty cool. I actually am really hyped about DLSS. I need to send you a video that's like what AI upsampling can do. And I think that I honestly feel moving into the next generation that like AI upsampling is going to be the way of the future, because it means that you can render something at like 480p and then interpret it up to 1080p without an additional, like, it's just being done by an AI, not by like raw processing power. And it means that you need a significantly less powerful piece of hardware to do a relatively similar output, which I feel like means that eventually we can start to get into a much higher granular level of detail by rendering at 4K and then upsampling to, like, 8K, or just doing like lighting, or I don't know. I'll send you a video about Grand Theft Auto 5 that's really interesting. Next up, let's see, another hardware news. Nintendo, this is the worst kept secret of all time. Nintendo only has to hold on to this bad secret for another 2 weeks, but there was another sighting of the Switch Pro on Amazon Mexico, which showed an empty listing for a console called the new Nintendo Switch Pro. We all know this shit is happening. I know that there's no way. I know it's ridiculous to be like, come on, Nintendo, just announce it 2 weeks before your E3 show. We all already know what's going to happen. But, if this doesn't get announced, I would be shocked. I say.
Shameful admission that I may have said on the show before.
Mm-hmm.
I often suddenly remember, oh, yeah, I have a Switch.
I'm surprised that you just don't have Skyrim on it. You just carry it around with a mobile Skyrim machine.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I was actually thinking about going back and playing through Skyrim again recently, but then I realized, oh, you don't have the time for that.
That's true. You never had the time to play Skyrim. Like, nobody has ever had the time to play all of Skyrim.
But I made time. I spent plenty of time there, and I kind of want to go back, but also it's like, they're going to be re-releasing this game for every console until the heat death of the universe, so I've got time to go back and play Skyrim.
I don't know. Have you heard that Have you heard the news that there's a very good chance that since Bethesda and Microsoft have now merged, that we're probably going to see Starfield get announced in like 2 weeks?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, so like 2 years ago at E3, Bethesda had a sizzle reel, and it was like one of them was Elder Scrolls 6, and then the other one was just like a bunch of space shit that was called Starfield.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so the scuttlebutt right now, the rumors are that game is going to basically kind of be like Skyrim in space, and that after the acquisition, that it's going to be an Xbox and Windows exclusive, to try to draw people into getting the Xbox. But we'll know soon enough. In other news, Nintendo announced that their Nintendo Direct this year is happening on June 15th. Actually, Jason, it's really interesting because I didn't realize this until I started actually looking up the dates, but E3 is running from June 12th to June 15th this year, and June 12th is a Saturday. So it starts on Saturday, okay. Sunday, Monday, and then Tuesday, which is great because I feel like in years past, it was a thing that happened at like 2:00 on a weekday. So
yeah.
Now you can waste your weekend just like everybody else. But yeah, it's assumed that a lot of the stuff that they're going to show is going to be, they said it's going to be about 40 minutes. It's going to mostly focus on stuff that is releasing in 2021, which will be interesting to see what all that is. Cause, I have
guesses.
Well, so here's the thing. We know that there are a bunch of things that we haven't seen that Nintendo is working on. Like, first off, that Nintendo Switch Pro is almost certainly going to be there. And it's almost certainly going to be one of the first, either the first or last thing that they announce. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the first thing that they announce, so that they can show all the games in 4K, because that's supposed to be one of the things that the Switch Pro will do 4K output when docked. So having that to justify like a higher resolution trailer, I think will be a big thing. But we know there's a new Zelda coming because they teased it a few years back. Mm-hmm. We know there is a new Metroid game in the works because they teased it a few years back, and we know that Bayonetta 3 is a thing because they teased it a few years back. None of that has been seen since then. Also, it would not surprise me if there was a new tentpole game from like Mario or Donkey Kong or one of the big ones, right? Or like Star Fox, maybe even like
Kid Icarus.
Maybe, yeah, because
Hogan's Alley.
They're bringing back Hogan's Alley. Wild Gunman. Well, because like, okay, we've had like, I don't think that Smash is going to be a thing because my God, have they managed to wring so much out of Smash Ultimate, right?
Oh man, have they?
I think it's a little early for another Mario Kart, considering how well Mario Kart 9 sold and how they'll probably put it out. They'll probably put out a second 4K edition for the new Switch, right? Like, that's the other thing, is that when they put out a new version, there's going to be a renewed interest in a lot of the older games because they'll look better on a 4K TV. So I don't know. I mean, like, Nintendo's been kind of knocking it out of the park. Mario Golf is coming out really soon. Splatoon 3 was already announced. That Game Builder Garage comes out like this week, which is like it's like Nintendo's version of like Little Big Planet, where like
okay,
teach you how to play a game, and then you get to go online and share it with other people, and they give you like nice little programming language. So I want to.
Interesting. Okay.
What do you want to see?
I don't know. I always forget. I don't know. Playing on the Switch for some reason always just feels like I'm playing on my phone, and I just can't get into it. I don't know why. Even when I've got it connected to the TV, I just can't get invested in Switch games for some reason. I got this weird hang up. I still haven't played Odyssey. That looked like a lot of fun. But yeah, as far as wanting something to see, I'm curious about Metroid. When was the last time we had a good Metroid game?
I mean, some people would say Prime 3. I would say Zero Mission. But that's because I'm a 2D guy. So I think what you might need, Jason, is have you ever looked into getting like one of the actual Switch Pro controllers, the ones that are like the size of a regular like Xbox or PlayStation controller, instead of just because they have those. They're like $60 or $70, but that's exclusively how I play my Switch, because I'm not on the bus. I don't leave my house. I don't go anywhere. Like, I don't need to play a game on the road. I'm here all the time. But I don't know. That might be a little bit of an impediment. Let's see. In other E3 news, we found out that Koch Media is going to have their own E3 event this year, which Koch Media owns Deep Silver. The event is going to be called Coke Primetime. And so there's kind of an interesting question here about whether, since they own Deep Silver and they haven't done a thing before, is this going to be the new Saints Row game that we've been hearing about has been in the background for a long time? Like,
I was about to say, is that what's happening?
Yeah, I don't know. But then also, like, Metro is a Deep Silver game, so and they have a bunch of other stuff that like that's kind of in deep freeze with them. So it's possible that there might be something that gets pulled out there. Is there
another Dead Island game or anything?
Oh yeah, Dead Island 2 was. Remember the trailer for that with Jack Black like a billion years ago?
Oh yeah! Wow.
Yeah. They insist that game is not canceled, that it is still in development. I think they're liars, but who can say? Yeah, there's also, they just announced a new Time Splitters game, but that like got announced a month ago and isn't even in like the beginning phases yet. So I don't think that's gonna have anything. But I know that's not what you really care about, Jason. I know what you really care about is award shows, and that E3 is going to have an award show this year.
Yes.
Because that's what an industry trade event is all about, is giving out trophies.
Which attendee smelled the worst is one of the awards, right? Well, because in my one visit to E3 with you, and this is just the same for any large gathering of people, not just gamers, but lots of nerds. There were some smells, Jeff. I was waiting in line to play Plants vs. Zombies back when we went, and then I decided, oh no, I'm gonna go rub Vicks Vapor Rub inside my sinuses.
like you're in a crime scene in a police procedural.
Yes, there was. It's like, man, there needs to be like a shower booth or something at E3.
I was gonna say, was it me? Did I smell the worst? Did I win and my trophy's in the mail, or what happened?
Well, now that you mention it,
all right,
you're the homecoming queen, Princess Stinky.
Princess Stinky is my father. Just Stinky will be fine. But this is really stupid. There's already a Game Awards, and it already means nothing. And they even talked about how like they want to have like some trailers that come out at their Game Awards. And it's like, Jesus, guys, go eat a bag of dicks. It's like trailers and shit. Like they're not even full games. Like I can imagine having a games award show for full video games. This is a best vertical slice. Like,
oh god,
the best bullshot. Like I don't know.
Best swag at a booth.
I mean, to be honest, like when we went to E3, I do know that one of the things that would happen was that places like GameSpot would be like most anticipated FPS, and they would give out like a little. It wasn't like a plaque, but it was just like a little sticker type of thing. And then people would like put those on their booths, and they would have like a little list of like, oh, IGN said we're like top 20 to watch at E3 1995. And, but it's just all horseshit, man. Like, just show me the fucking trailers and let me play the game. Like, I don't give a shit what IGN thinks. I make up my own mind. I don't need IGN to tell me anything about anything. By the way, the award show will be chosen by editors from IGN, GameSpot, PC Gamer, and Games Radar. So,
who's hosting?
Well, definitely not Keeley. Keeley's doing his own thing. I don't know. Maybe they'll get that guy from the PC Gaming Show to do it. That would be great. Let's see, and then let's see. We got a little bit of time here before we take a break. So we also have some more news. Battlefield 6 is getting ready to be announced.
Put it in my face. Let's do it.
Yep. That's going to be actually this week, the Wednesday, the 9th. They're supposed to be showing it off. It's going to be called Just Battlefield, so as to confuse every conversation moving forward about the Battlefield franchise. Yeah, what's your there's a very small teaser. We don't have a lot of information about this. I think there's some leaked footage of an internal teaser that they were doing like last week, I think, that I watched, and it seemed like it was modern. They're back to Modern Warfare. How's that jive with you, Jason?
Good. I haven't really gotten into a Battlefield game in a while. I played a little bit of the one set during World War I, a little bit of the one set during World War II. Those, I guess the two most recent ones. I'm not sure. I actually have played. God, Battlefield was the first thing we played on Loading Bar, right? One of the Battlefields.
Battlefield 3.
Yeah. I really like the Battlefield franchise, but I haven't been. It's like once they did that whole like, let's steal cars, and that's a Battlefield game. It's like, what the hell is what? What are you talking about?
Oh, you mean Hardline?
Hardline.
Yeah.
Hardline. Yeah. Once they did that, the bloom was off the rose. But man, Battlefield 2142 does not get enough love. Battlefield 2, Battlefield 3, love that stuff. So I really hope they come back strong. I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, for all intents and purposes, as far as I know, those Battlefield 1, and then what was the one that was in World War II? What was that even called? Was that 5?
1940. Oh, well, the new one, when they went back to it, I don't know, but I think so. But there was like Battlefield
like a V.
1942, and then, yeah, there's, God, they're naming games. Fix your names. Just fix them. Far Cry's doing good. They got Far Cry 6. The next one needs to be called Far Cry 7. The Xbox, change it. It's Xbox One, Xbox 2, Xbox 3. Follow Sony's lead. Stop
Jason.
with the stupid Xbox 6 Sigma Falcon Warrior 9.
I don't want you to give the Far Cry franchise too much credit, because there's also Blood Dragon, New Dawn, Primal.
Yeah, you're right.
But so I mean, I don't know. Battlefield seems like it's doing very well. It seems like they've kind of established themselves. I wonder if they still feel like that whole. Do they still feel like the Pepsi where they're like, this is the year where we're gonna take it to Call of Duty and we're gonna win? And it's like, no, you're not. There was a point where that might have been the case, but then Warzone has just like that they're hiring something like 8 new studios to just work on Warzone content. So
and well, they're also, I don't know, Battlefield or Modern Warfare, the Call of Duty stuff is kind of diluting its brand, I think, because there's just, while Warzone is a valid product, Modern Warfare also, people still playing that, me. But then there's Black Ops, but like they all run through the same kind of, it's like, oh yeah, oh cool, okay, I'll play this. Oh no, I have to have a different game. I'm using my interface that I got when I bought Modern Warfare, but it's got Black Ops things in there, and I click on that and it's like, oh no, you have to buy this, but it's all mixed in. It's just
confusing.
It's such a cluster. It's like, make them discrete products, okay?
Or build a unified piece of software that is just for managing Call of Duty. Like, there's so many, and you're going to put one out every fucking year, and now you've got the Warzone track, like you said, the multiplayer track, like the zombies track. Like, do like Hitman and just make it so that every year the new game can also launch and run all the previous, like last year's game, and that you can go in and there'll be menus where you can uncheck the stuff you don't want and check the stuff you do want, and only install 140 gigs worth of Call of Duty instead of 180 gigs of Call of Duty or whatever it is.
Yeah, and that's another thing. That's always fun when it's like, oh hey, let's jump on and play. Oh okay, it's just a 300 gigabyte download. So for the patch that I didn't know about. So I guess we'll play next month.
Yeah. The other thing, though, that I must bring up every time Battlefield is mentioned is fuck you, you cowards. Bring back Battlefield Bad Company. Where's Battlefield Bad Company 3? Quit trying to not give us what we all want and give the people what they want, which is more Bad Company.
Yeah. God, those games were lots of fun. I missed that.
Yep. You know what? We're going to go ahead and take a break. We've been doing this for about an hour, so we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about more things. News. Actually, we don't really have that much news. We'll just go through this one real fast. So last week, EA delisted all of the old Need for Speed games on the PlayStation Network and a few other online stores. So Need for Speed Carbon, Shift 2 Unleashed, Undercover, The Run are all off of digital stores at this point. You could still buy them, or you could still download them if you have them, and I'm sure that you could probably find physical copies at some point somewhere. But they mainly said that this was to essentially, I don't know, I get the impression that they're looking to get a new Need for Speed game out, and that this is like they are just trying to unclutter the field of the name Need for Speed.
Yeah, that's probably a good call.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Let's see. We also had speaking of games, it's games you can't get. Speaking of games that you can get, it's Pride Month this month, and tell me why the latest game, or one of the latest games from Don't Nod, is free on pretty much the Xbox and Steam and Windows Store. And if you get it, it's not like a Game Pass thing. You just get it and you own it, and you can have it, and you can keep it, and you can play it to your heart's content. So yeah, do that, I guess, if you're interested. I mean, those are real like kind of slow burn games. I don't know if you've played any of the Life is Strange or any of those types of games, but
no, I installed Life is Strange just the other day. Didn't play it, but I installed it. I own it. I don't really know what it's about. I'm curious, but yeah, I know it's like relationships and maybe there's time travel or something. I have no idea. I have no idea.
That's about the same description that I have because I never really played it. I was like, oh, a game about a bunch of teenage girls. That's cool for people who are interested in that. I'm a little more of a Guns and Ninjas kind of guy personally, but yeah. Well, speaking of Guns and Ninjas, this is the weirdest fucking thing I've seen this week. Watch Dogs Legion on the PC has got an alpha for a PvE zombie multiplayer mode. Now, of all the games that Ubisoft makes, is the one about hacking people's cell phones the ones that you would think would have a zombie add-on for it?
It's starting to seem a little lazy, where it's just like, oh, let's take our game and put zombies in there. A, zombies are over. Come on. They're over. B, you can't do anything else. Sex chuds, rabbit dogs, killer Muppets. I don't know, but just okay. Again, zombies, great.
What about like this is a game that's all about technology and interconnection and cell phones, right? What if it's like, oh, it's a mind virus. It's like a rage virus that transmits through phones and makes people, instead of just like literally The Walking Dead in the game that's about cyber robots and like a authoritarian surveillance state and like the how does technology fit into our lives? Also, any other Ubisoft game would be better to have a zombies mode in it. Assassin's Creed would be better with a zombies mode.
Yeah.
The Division. Yeah, like any of those would be better with a zombies mode, I feel like, than Watch Dogs. Well, because like the powers that you get in Watch Dogs are like distract somebody by making their phone go beep beep. And it's like, well, the zombies aren't looking at their phones, or are they? Wake up, sheeple!
Is it a metaphor about us being addicted to screens? Oh, how clever. I never would have thought of that.
In any case, this is
that was sorry. What, don't you say Kappa there or something like that? I don't know.
Dude, I don't know. You probably know more about the internet these days than I do. Yeah, this is weird. It's in alpha on the PC version of Watch Dogs. It's going to be coming later to the console versions. You know, Ubisoft has a zombie title, right? They own Zombie U, right? Like that's
oh yeah,
they have a whole like dedicated zombie game that they could have taken this and like filed the serial numbers off of Watch Dogs and put out Zombie U 2. That would be weird. That might be a little confusing. Anyway, let's see. From there, this is kind of interesting in a weird way. Gran Turismo. How long has it been since you've heard anything about Gran Turismo, Jason?
I don't know. Every time I hear the words Gran Turismo, my mind just goes.
Okay.
Because it's just like, I don't. What happened? Oh, someone was talking about a boring car game? Okay.
Yeah, there was a thing on the PlayStation blog that was this big Q&A with one of their heads, and they talked about one of the things about Gran Turismo is that Gran Turismo very much being a showcase of like next-gen hardware, like lighting effects and stuff to make cars look really pretty, has always been on the new console. It's never been a cross-gen affair. Like the new one is on whatever the newest hardware is to show off that stuff. But there was a question that was asked in this blog, in this interview, where they talked about games that are going to be cross generation between the PS4 and PS5, and they mentioned Horizon Forbidden West, the new God of War that they're making, and potentially Gran Turismo 7 as being both a PS4 and a PS5 game, which is kind of interesting. In a weird way, I feel like it factors into this thing. You would be a really good person to ask about this, about like, there's all these articles that I keep seeing about like, is there a reason to buy a PlayStation 5? Because right now you've got Demon Souls, you've got Returnal, the new Ratchet and Clank game, but there's not a lot of like straight up PS5 exclusives coming out right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The only reason I wanted a PlayStation 5 was so that Miles Morales would look really good when I played it. But I played it on the 4, and it looked really good. And also, what was the other one? Oh, Cyberpunk. I was like, I gotta get a PlayStation 5 and play Cyberpunk. We know how that turned out. Not only did Cyberpunk ruin my desire to play Cyberpunk, it ruined my desire to own a PlayStation 5. I just thought, oh, I can wait.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's going to be really interesting because I feel like one of the things that you've seen in previous generations, this is a really unprecedented generational shift when it comes to consoles, because it used to be that it was like, well, if I have the money, I'll buy the new one, but then there's kind of like a slightly less good-looking version for the existing one that I could play if I really just want to play the game and I don't care about how good it looks. But considering the fact that at this point the bottleneck isn't like, can you afford a PS5? It's literally, can you find a PS5? It does seem like it would be kind of cruel almost in a way to shift a lot of the brand new stuff to a thing that isn't super available. But I guess that's kind of happened before with like the Switch and the Wii, like, because those were very sold out everywhere and it took a long time to get those. But I don't know. It's weird. It's just a weird thing to think about.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious to see games that release on both generations, like, whatever is releasing on PS4 and PS5. What are the sales numbers like relatively? Because it's like, I want to play God of War 2, but if they just keep postponing it until I can get my hands on a PlayStation 5, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Speaking of games that continue to look real good, this week we suddenly got a trailer for No Man's Sky Prisms, which is yet another update to No Man's Sky that has added some new lighting and texture effects to everything. You can now ride flyable creatures in the game. You can literally ride around like monsters. There's some new rain effects, there's some new star effects. They've redone the photo mode. There's just a lot going on still in No Man's Sky, and like I showed this trailer to Michael the other day, and he was just like, guys, you can stop. It's like a good game now. You can stop making updates for it.
I haven't played it since it came out, and I was playing it. Allison and I were playing it. We thought, oh, this is just really zen. And then after a while, it's like, oh, no, this isn't zen. This is just boring.
Yeah.
It's like there's a fine line. And I haven't gone back. I've got it on the PlayStation 4. Haven't gone back to do all of those updates and check it out. I'm kind of curious now.
There's like mech suits, and last week they put the Normandy in it for a week. You could get the Normandy to just be No Man's Sky. Like,
that's cool.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in here. I just wonder when they're gonna stop. But like, there's a part of this trailer where like he's literally riding like this butterfly worm over a giant sandworm that's crashing around, and like I'm like, are they just gonna keep updating this until it's like the best game that's ever existed?
Because right now it is so far from the game that I bought a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Let's see. From there, we got a trailer. This is funny because there was a new Valorant lore cinematic trailer. Do you know what Valorant is, Jason?
It is, it's people shoot at each other. It's online. Is that the? I get it confused with Apex Legends a little bit. What is it? I don't know. What is Valorant? Just tell me.
It's basically. Well, I don't really even know because I haven't played it because I've watched what the actual matches of Valorant look like, and it looks like Counter-Strike meets Overwatch. Like it's like kind of Counter-Strike, but then everybody's got like one power, so it's like 2 teams of 7 that go to try to do an objective, and if you die you got to wait for the next round, and you buy stuff at the beginning kind of stuff. But the thing is that when it launched, it had this really saucy like story trailer that came out with it, and then they put out a new one called Duality this week. Did you end up watching this or not?
No, I haven't seen that one.
it's kind of interesting. Like it's very slick. It's very well produced. It actually made me sad because I was like, oh, I guess we're just not doing the Overwatch story trailers anymore because I really enjoyed those. But it's really slick, and it's got some like weird lore implications where they're talking about this one guy is like, why are we fighting these versions of ourselves? Like literally leading into the idea that the other team could have like the same characters on it and stuff. But yeah, it still doesn't make. I'm still not going to play Valorant, but like it's cool looking.
I'm curious about it. I'm a Counter-Strike fan. I'm a big Overwatch fan. I might check it out.
Maybe. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's free to play on the PCs, so I don't know. We also got screw all the rest of this stuff. Screw all this Far Cry nonsense. We got a trailer for Fast and Furious Spy Racers: Rise of the SH1 FT3R, which looks like another really well. Okay, I showed this to Brian Salisbury, and he informed me that he thinks that this is, now Jason, I want you to listen really carefully to these words, the tie-in game for the animated Netflix spin-off series of the Fast and Furious.
Okay, yeah.
Which I didn't know was a thing, but I'll be honest, this looks like Mario Kart. Like
it does. No, and it's Spy Racers is like the animated, it's like directed at kids. I haven't seen it. I saw are they shooting like paintballs at each other?
Yeah, they got like shields and paintballs. It looks like like realistic cars, like your favorite Fasts and the Furiouses are driving, but then also it's apparently just Mario Kart. And like, you know what? Considering all the bad fucking, you talked about the first game we played on the loading bar being Battlefield 3. Well, the second game that we played on Rage Select was that Fast and Furious game that was horrible. And
it was not good.
I've been playing all of them, and they're all bad. And it's just like, you know what? You guys want to make a Mario Kart version? That would probably be better than anything else than trying to make like a really half-assed cinematic Fast and Furious game.
I want to see the Mario Kart action in the Fast and Furious movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to see some blue shells, wrecking shit, lightning. I want Dom to get shrunk down really tiny with a bolt of lightning. Let's do it.
I was just thinking the other way where like they're like, we need some new blood for the team, and then it's like the door opens and there's like a silhouette, and then the light comes on and it's Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo in overalls. It's like
it's a me, Mario.
That's right. They just put Mario on the team.
Yes. And they got to go up against Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal.
Put it all in there, man. Make it No Man's Sky. Just put all the things into that one thing. I don't care.
Right. It's like Fortnite the movie. They're just cramming everything in there.
Yep. And then last but not least in the trailer parade, we got a trailer. So we already had the first Crysis game got remastered, not semi-remastered and put out recently. But it looks like before the year is out, they're going to be doing it with the second and third. So they're putting the whole thing out as a trilogy. So you're going to be getting Crysis 1, 2, and 3. With some enhanced optimization, and then also on the next gen. Well, but see, here's the thing. They're not really on the next gen consoles. They're going to be on consoles. But like at the end of this trailer, it literally says like also backwards compatible on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox. So, you know, it's not exactly like all brand new. A lot of it is going to be essentially remastered, or it's not going to be on everything, is what I'm saying.
Okay. I'm pretty unfamiliar with the Crysis games. I'm sad to say. Are they, what do you think about them? Are you excited about this? Is this anything I should look forward to?
You know what? If you like Far Cry, I think that you could do worse than like playing Crysis. Like it's a little bit more it's harder than like the original Far Cry, but like imagine it's got the kind of thing with the original Far Cry. Okay, so you drop onto this island full of North Koreans and you've got this special suit, and the suit has like what is it? It's like maximum armor, and it goes, and then you can like take a bunch of hits, or it's like stealth, and you turn invisible like a predator, or you can like punch a guy and he flies over the other side of the map, and then it's kind of just this big open jungle where you can do like stealth, you can get vehicles, you blow people away, but then like I mean, honestly, if you haven't played Crisis by now, that's on you. But then it turns out that like there's North Koreans on this island and that they're fucking around with this crashed alien tech, and then it turns into this weird like Marines in super suits versus outer space aliens that are blowing stuff up with lasers at the end.
Oh, okay.
Kind of the way that you remember how the original Far Cry started out as like, this militia's taking over this island, and at the end it's like
super mutants.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, even then that was like, wait, I'm sorry, what? This is a game about big genetically engineered monsters? Okay.
Dude, what if I've been totally wrong and at the end of Far Cry 6, it's all that liberation stuff, and then it turns out that Giancarlo Esposito just has like a fucking army of lizard mutants that he throws at you.
Yes.
And you got to get into a big mech.
See that.
They make a mech out of a bunch of old American muscle cars that you have to fight them. That'd be great. But yeah, Crisis is good. It's going to be coming out this fall sometime. I think you alluded to it before, but we also got news this week that the God of War sequel is being pushed into 2022. I will not be surprised if this is the last that we hear of games that were supposed to be out this year getting pushed, especially that happens in regular years. And man, I still don't think that everybody has a really good handle on just how much the pandemic fucked up games that were in like active development, not like getting finished and polished in 2020. Yeah. So, let's see. Days Gone, the Sony Bend studio that made Days Gone is basically working on a new IP, and they say they really like it. This is kind of weird. It factors into some of the other stuff about how those guys really wanted Days Gone to work, and they really wanted to make a sequel to Days Gone, but it didn't really sell well enough. And so they're working on something new now, which is, kind of industry code for like, yeah, your game didn't make enough money. Go do something more impressive rather than making a sequel to a game that already didn't sell very well. So
I really thought Days Gone was going to be great, but I didn't hear much about it when it came out, so I never played it.
The people that like it really, really like it. I didn't care for it because it was just like, zombies in an open world, and it's kind of post-apocalyptic, and I'm almost like, name 3 things that are overdone to fuck in video games.
Yeah.
But the people that like it really liked it. The PC version of it just came out, so people can play it on the PC, but who knows? Maybe they make another thing and it sells really well, and then they get to go back to Days Gone. Microsoft let the cat out of the bag this week by listing 2 Point Campus on their store, even though it had not been announced. This is going to be 2 Point Hospital, like a spinoff from 2 Point Hospital, where instead of building a hospital, you build a college campus. 2 Point Hospital is charming as fuck, and I normally don't get into the X simulator genre, but 2 Point Hospital is just really fun because all the people that come in have really goofy illnesses, and then you have to find to build the thing to treat their illnesses.
Is there an expansion called 2 Point Bankruptcy?
I don't believe so.
2 Point Capitalism ruined healthcare, and now everyone dies in the gutter.
No, it's not really that kind of. It's not really that kind of game, Jason. I know it's shocking.
Rage Against the Machine didn't have any design notes for 2 Point Hospital.
No, like the goofy Wallace and Gromit looking characters they don't really have much to say about capitalism, about late stage capitalism.
It's all about MRSA and bankruptcy.
Additionally, we finally got a release date for the Atari VCS.
It's adorable.
Which was announced a while back. I believe it was crowdfunded. It's going to run like Android, like they have, okay, this thing is kind of a joke and a half, in that it looks like an old Atari. It's going to come with like an old style Atari controller, and then there's also just like a modern looking controller. They kind of have this little sizzle reel for a bunch of the games that are going to be coming. Did you watch this?
I did. And it looks like, okay, I bet you're going to be able to go to like a Walgreens or a CVS or something at 2:00 in the morning, and right next to in the as seen on TV section, right next to the shake weight, you'll find an Atari VCS. And, this just seems like, okay, that's adorable. Let the adults play now.
I mean, the thing is that I like the way that it seems like they've got these games that are like reminiscent of retro style games. Like you might play on Atari 2600, but like they're definitely not the same games. The biggest problem about this whole thing is the fucking price. This thing is going to be $300 for just the console and then $400 for the console with the controllers. Like I just
eat shit.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know that they're trying to make it so that it can play, so that it has the hardware to be able to play semi-modern games, but like, dude, no, dude, no, dude, come on, dude.
And then they're like, oh, we got Missile Command Deluxe, and it's like, listen, this is like making the Lone Ranger movie that they came out with a few years ago. It's like, it's 2021. Nobody gives a shit about the Lone Ranger anymore, or Tarzan, or Atari, or is there a video game about fax machines? Can we get that too? It's like, I'm sorry. Here's the thing. I there for a while, I really wanted, for a long time, I wanted Atari to come back, as they say in that Red Hot Chili Pepper song, come back strong with 50 belly dancers. But I also own 2 working Atari 2600s, along with a lot of games. And you know what? Those games are all trash. They suck. Atari games suck. There may be like 2 of them. Yar's Revenge and Warlords. Pitfall is okay for about 15 minutes. Pitfall 2 is okay for about 30 minutes. Other than that, every single one of those games are dog shit. And yeah, I know it was like 40 years ago or whatever, but nobody cares. Nobody cares about Atari anymore.
Wow. Jason's coming in hot on the thing that nobody cares about.
Yeah. I mean, I have nostalgia for it, but it's just like, guys, come on.
Well,
really?
I mean,
do you think this was a good idea?
The thing is, I have nostalgia for it too, and if it was $100, I would buy one and feature it on Rage Select for a week and be like, let's check out these Atari games. Like, oh, here's the old controller. But like, I don't know. There's nostalgia, and then there's nostalgia, and I'm more nostalgic. Like, I played Atari, or I played knockoff Gemini games and like Intellivision games and shit at Grandma's house. But life changed when the Nintendo Entertainment System came out, and like, the Nintendo Entertainment System in a lot of ways made the stuff that came before that look really bad in comparison. Like,
yes,
like at the time, yeah, there was nothing else, and if you didn't want to do this, you had to go to an arcade, and that's fine. But then the Nintendo happened, and the world changed forever. And
yeah, and I love talking to people, and they say, oh man, well, it was really the old classic games. Those were the really good ones, the best ones. And I'm like, you're crazy. You are an insane person. No, they're not.
I mean,
they're bad. Games just keep getting better. They do. I mean, sure, a lot of them are released like broken, maddening slag piles full of bugs and horror and frustration. But, eventually they put, you can jump on a flying alien and a sandworm. It's like, they'll get there and be decent eventually. But even the bad current games are better than playing Combat or Raiders of the Lost Ark or Montezuma's Revenge or whatever the hell the game was on the Atari 2600. They're trash games. Okay. I'll stop. I'm sorry.
Or I again, if it didn't cost as much, I think it would be better. Like if you were to make like a really handmade, bespoke, out of great materials version of Get Ball in Cup, and it costs $30, I would be like, that's too much for Get Ball in Cup. Like, no matter how good of a version of Get the Ball in the Cup you were trying, no matter, like, if you want to give me a hand carved Woolly Willy that has like, a diamond cut top on it and like, like high quality hand shaved metal and a hand painted Willy on it, and it costs $50, I'd be like, this was a toy for babies and it was meant to be thrown away. And like, I get it. I understand nostalgia and I understand all that stuff, but like, go back and play Barnstormer and telling me that you would not rather be playing like kind of anything else.
Literally anything.
So,
and honestly, it's like, I hope those games are great. I'm sure a lot of people put a lot of effort and time into those, but you know, it's like a lot of them look like there's nothing there that excites me, unfortunately. I wish there was, because I do want them to be successful, but man, looking at all that, it's like, what's that? Is that a Newsgrounds game?
Right.
Or new, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nah, I get you. Let's see. We also found out in delayed news that King of Fighters 15 is being delayed to 2022. This is mostly just COVID pushing stuff back. I actually really like King of Fighters at this point, so but I think if Cyberpunk taught us anything, it's like, let them finish the game and let's not pressure them to put it out before it's done. Like, if it needs another year, take the year, man.
Yeah, I just learned that there were 15 King of Fighters games, so that's something.
And then last, we got a few fun things. Let's see. We got this week, somebody went back and painstakingly restored 20 minutes of deleted footage to the Super Mario Brothers movie. And you can watch it online for free. It's called the Morton Jankel Cut, and they've added stuff in that, like, there were things in the trailers that got pulled out. There's been this real big project to restore this stuff. There's like a 35-minute video where this guy is going over, like, taking the VHS transfers and then running them through AI algorithms to add in, like, color and detail that wasn't there before, and like, you know, oh, this was recorded off of VHS, so sometimes the horizontal sync gets out, and then we've got to go in and manually cut it back together again, and I use this tool for this thing. Kind of interesting, but then at the end of the day, you still have to watch the Super Mario Brothers movie. So
yeah, that's like, hey, remember smallpox? Well, we're gonna release that into the wild again. But guess what? No. Here's the thing. Now it makes your genitals fall off too.
Oh,
so, right?
Nice.
Right? It's like, oh, sign me up for small. It's like the Snyder Cut. It's like, oh, it's the Justice League movie, but it's 4.5 hours long now. No,
Jason,
I don't want that.
Jason,
I don't want more diarrhea. I want less diarrhea.
Jason, it's in 4:3 because, you know, that was his original vision, was to make it look like it was on an old tube television, or to put it in an IMAX format, even though we can't go to IMAX because of reasons. Don't. I shouldn't be going here. I've been ranting about Snyder for like 2 months straight. So
I would just like to say, the Justice League movie, everyone's like, oh, it wasn't bad. I didn't hate it. And I'm like, yeah, neither did I. But the whole movie is about Darkseid's coming. Batman's got to assemble a team. We got to put the Justice League together to fight Darkseid because Superman is dead. So we gotta band together and fight Darkseid and Steppenwolf. And they work really hard. Then what happens at the end? Superman shows up and just saves the day anyway. So it's just like, what was the point of the movie?
Yeah.
What was the point of the movie?
No, I can't go too far down this road. I got to take one step and then I'm going to leave the door. But like, everybody keeps saying what you just said, where they're like, it's fine. It's not fine. It is a fucking bad movie. Like, and I'm not even talking about like, I don't like Zack Snyder. Like, I don't like Zack Snyder. But like, the thing is that if you were a student at a film college and you handed in the script, they would send it back and say, cut 200 pages out of this. Like, there's no reason.
Yeah.
Why are you setting up 8 movies? I know Avengers is a thing, but like, make one after credits stinger that's like 2 minutes long, not a 30-minute after credits stinger, right? But like, there's no reason to set up all this shit for movies that you don't know are going to get made, motherfucker. Like, you're literally fucking up your movie by putting stuff in it because it's a non sequitur. The human brain is following your story from point A to point B, and suddenly you've just jammed a complete non sequitur in the middle. Like Jason, I'm sorry. I'm here now. I mean, no, we're here. This is where we're at.
It's okay. You got it.
Come back to us. I watched Army of the Dead, right? And there's a part in Army of the Dead where the guy is like, maybe we're in a time loop. And they're like, what? Because they find a bunch of bodies of a team that went in before them that are all dead. And like, maybe we're in a time loop. And they're like, what are you talking about? It's like, well, look, there's like 5 guys and there's like 5 of us. Like, they're kind of dressed the same way. And like, maybe they came in here. Maybe we're just doing this over and over again. And during this scene, they literally zoom in on one of the corpses and it's got a little like key necklace. And then they go to the lady character that's in the movie and she's got the same key necklace on. And like, one of the guys is wearing a shirt and it's like the other guy's shirt. And he's like, yeah, maybe we're just doing this over and over again. Maybe this is actually hell. And then he's like, nah, just kidding. Beep. And then explodes the doors to get into the vault. And I'm like, you can't do that because my brain is now over there and you're just going forward in your zombie movie like nothing ever happened. You can't just cutesy your way into a non sequitur that's so much of a left turn and then just go, JK, not really. Keep going with the zombie movie. Like,
that's weird. I haven't seen it yet. That's insane.
The movie starts with guys like the inciting incident of the movie. The first 10 minutes of the movie is a bunch of guys in a military convoy, and they're bringing this box, right? This big metal box. They're guarding this big metal box, and like they get in a car accident, and the metal box opens, and the super zombie comes out, and that's like the big thing at the beginning. But the guys in the truck for like 5 minutes before the movie starts are talking about how like, so what do you think is in the box? And they're like, well. And the guy's like, oh, maybe it's Amelia Earhart. She's been alive all these years. He's like, They're like, well, you know where we're coming from, right? He's like, yeah, the area. And he's like, yeah, so you know what's in there, right? He's like, you don't mean like from outer space. And he's like, well, what else would we be guarding with this much firepower coming from, that place? And then it crashes and a zombie comes out. And you're like, what was that? What was all the alien shit? This, like, there's planting the seeds, right, for future stuff. But normally when you do that, you just intersperse it throughout. Like, you'll be like, the Hulk will be rampaging and some guy will pick up a phone and be like, get me Nick Fury. We need shield response immediately. And then there's just a bunch of tanks. And you're like, oh, I get it. Like, there'll be another thing in a movie. But, like, Snyder keeps cutting away to fucking Martha Manhunter for 20 minutes. And I'm like, why is Martian Manhunter... Anyway, I'm sorry. I have to stop. This is the one I was afraid of. I have to stop. Anyway, last but not least, Nintendo is going to be maybe opening a museum in Japan, and I totally want to go to it. They have the Yuji Ogura plant located outside of Kyoto that was a place that they've owned for a while that used to do playing card manufacturing, customer service repairs. It was shut down in 2016. Nintendo's been trying to decide what to do with it. I love this story because they said that like the city of Uji is trying to redevelop the surrounding area to be more of like a tourist like destination. And so Nintendo's like, well, if we've got this thing right in the middle of a tourist sector, why don't we just make it into a Nintendo museum and put a bunch of old stuff in there and people can come and pay money and go look at it. And I'm like, cool. I will like to go to that someday.
Yeah. I would do that. That was, the best I'm going to be able to settle for is just like to get Matt Frank to go and just take pictures for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the news, and we still have time for questions, Jason. So
yay!
Yeah, let's see how I got a lot of questions built up here. Let's see if we can zip through some of these. Let's see, because normally we don't get as many questions, and 400 episodes. So Tom says, hello, Overlords Jason and Jeff. Heard your rally cry for questions, so here goes. Hearing last week that you've dipped your toe into audiobooks, what do you think makes a good narrator for an audiobook? And then question 2, Warner Brothers has heard that you're the guy to change the face of comic book films. Choose a property other than Superman and pitch me an idea. Hope you're well. Take care, from Tom. Jason, do you do audiobooks? I was kind of messing around with some recently.
As far as like listening to them, I was trying to record my own, and that's a lot of work.
Oh, so, yeah.
I'm going to get to that. But as far as listening to audiobooks, not that often. I actually, obviously, like, as you can tell, Jeff, looking at my office, I actually like having books.
Mm-hmm.
But on long drives, like I was listening to Victor Laval's The Devil in Silver the other day, and that was really good. But it loses my attention really quickly, and then I just have to back it up. It's like, oh, where was I? I can't pay attention to audiobooks as much as I can, just like actually reading a book.
It's really difficult because like I feel like if you're listening to if you're listening to this podcast, right? If you're listening to just two people like having a conversation, there's just like natural ebbs and flows and pauses and places where your brain really just like can pick up on that because you're used to listening to people talk. You're used to listening to conversations. So like a podcast is really easy to listen to because it's just a recorded conversation. Whereas like you're used to reading a book, and the thing about reading a book is that you can stop. And like if you miss something, you can like you're like, I just kind of stop paying attention for a minute. Let me go back a sentence and just start back over again. But with an audio book, it's like, man, that shit just keeps going, and they do not care. They don't know whether you've because if you kind of zoned out for a second because you were listening to an audiobook and then doing something else, then you can suddenly find yourself like, oh wait, I have to back up like 8 minutes to figure out what the fuck, how did we get here again? Like,
oh, and you're not even sure how far you have to back up sometimes. With the page you can tell, but I guess ADD, I'm easily distracted, can't really do audio very well.
Do you think as a person who does narration for audiobooks, do you like it when they do a lot of different voices?
That's something I'm struggling with. It depends. Some of them are better than others. Like the one I'm listening to now, he doesn't do any voices really. He just narrates. It's the author narrating the book, which is fine. But I did an audiobook for Black Owned Motorcycle Club a while back that I just released on just as a podcast in multiple parts, and doing voices for other ethnicities and for women. I started to realize it's like, I feel weird. I feel weird and embarrassed and exposed and uncomfortable. So I might on the next one just like kind of do an inflection, but not really. I don't know, because sometimes you listen to it and it's just really painful. And other times you listen and they really draw you in and it doesn't matter.
It also really depends on like how many characters there are in a book, because if you've got a book that has like, a bunch of incidental dialogue with other characters and you're trying to give everybody their own voices, I mean, unless you're like a professional, like, what do you call it when people do other people? Impressionist, right? Like, you're really only going to have, as a normal person, you're really only going to have the range for, I don't know, 8 different voices, right? But then on the other hand, when you look at like just a traditionally written book, I mean, you know this as well as I do, that you'll have parts where 2 characters are talking and it's not like, well, let's go over here, said Sally. I agree, says Alan. Like, I think that we should go into the other room, Tommy opined, right? Like, so if you're just going through like a back and forth with 2 characters, it's almost like you have to do a voice just to differentiate between the one and the other, because who knows whether a pause is to tell you that another person is talking or whether it was just a pause in what the character was saying. So
no, I've got parts of that in Killer Candy that I'm trying to get narrated, and parts of it it's fine. It makes complete sense reading it, but saying it out loud or doing it on audiobook, you can't tell who's saying what at all, and I'm like, I didn't consider that. And then sometimes when you read it out loud, it gets very repetitive of Joe said, Jeff said, right. Carl said, Allie said.
Yeah. I don't know. It's difficult. I mean, so the thing is that I was having a really good time with a lot of the free books on Audible. Like there's a set of books that John Scalzi wrote called The Dispatcher, and then there was a second Dispatcher, and Zachary Quinto read those, and those were good because those were really dry books. And they really only had a couple of characters. So Quinto just kind of used kind of his own voice for the main character, and then like a kind of higher pitched version of his voice for like, there's this lady cop that's like the second character in that book. And that worked out pretty well. But those are also like 150 page books. They're not very long. Whereas I listened to one that was based on this guy that I like who does the Honor Harrington series, and it was a 30-hour book, and like that one got a little bit, I don't know. There was also a thing where I felt like, I don't know what it is, but I felt like after listening to the narrator, who wasn't bad, do these voices for 30 hours, I was starting to just be like, stop doing voices. It's just I don't want to listen to any more voices, but I don't know. It's hard to say. I've kind of gone back to podcasts right now. I'm that big 30-hour audiobook was kind of all of last month instead of listening to anything else. I don't know. I might go back eventually, but
yeah. And then you get some narrators who are clearly like, oh, that's a white man doing a kind of offensive voice of an elderly black woman. Ooh, wow. I'm very uncomfortable right now.
yeah.
That was in a couple of the Dark Tower books by Stephen King, like early audiobooks for that had like, oh yeah, I don't even. Here, I'm gonna try to do it right now. Listen, okay.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! No!
Yeah.
No, the best ones though that I got was like was the audio dramas, right? So like on Audible they took the William Gibson script for Alien 3 and spun it into a whole audio drama where Bishop and Hicks, those two actors, came in to do their lines. Or I listened to a bunch of the Big Finish Doctor Who audio dramas on Spotify. There's a bunch of them on Spotify, and that works out really well.
There's some Marvel ones that are really good.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Anyway, Warner Brothers has said that you're the guy that changed the face of comic book films. What's a property from DC that you would pitch, and what's your idea, Jason?
Oh, a DC movie that I would pitch. And he said not Superman.
Not right? Superman. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fine. I would honestly. I like Elastic Man.
Okay.
Ralph Dibny. Yeah, I didn't really watch him in The Flash, but I would do like Ralph and Sue Dibny, but do it like the old Thin Man movies, like a kind of a fun, snarky socialite detective couple between Ralph and Sue Dibny. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Okay.
It wouldn't make any money, but I think it sounds cool.
I'm gonna give you two, because they actually said specifically comic book films, and so I think it would be really cool to see a John Jones, like a Martian Manhunter origin / detective thing, like, because he always gets roped into the Justice League, but Martian Manhunter, he's his own thing, and he is a manhunter. He is telepathic, invisible, and can change his shape. Like, he would be great. And then you could kind of mix that in with like a coming to Earth, last of his kind, making connections. Like, there's a lot of fertile ground there for a lot of different stories that you could make into a movie, especially an origin story. But what I really would like is a TV series based on Starman. Who was the guy that ran the Starman, who like rebooted it and ran it for years?
Oh, James Robinson?
Yeah, the James Robinson Starman, I think would be really fun, like the Opal City noir, because there's a whole rogues gallery of like the who's the Shade, and like, you got the different Starmen that came in, and Solomon Grundy, and like all those different characters that came into that over the years, and the whole family legacy with the Mist, and I think it would be really fun.
Yeah,
I think it'd be really fun.
Star Girl TV show now. Actually, I
watched it. It's very much like it's like, oh, the Justice Society's powers were all locked in like their items, and like they all died a long time ago, and so I found the Starman stuff, and then I'm going to give all the things to my teenage friends. We're all going to go fight crime, and it didn't seem bad or anything, but like, I don't know. I really liked the very film noir like vibe that you got off of the James Robinson Starman, of the kind of throwback, and then Jack Knight himself being this kind of like weird retro hipster kind of guy. I think that could all work pretty well. All right, let's see. We got this one comes in from Oh, this is just saying how much they like Rage Select in the loading bar. So I'm going to save that one and read it to myself later. Sean says, greetings, Jeff and Jason. I've been a long-time viewer since loading bar, and a question that's been on my mind ever since I started listening to your podcast is, how do you choose the music for the transition between the podcast two parts? I noticed that of late it's been limited to video game-themed covers of recognizable songs. Was this a deliberate decision? Do you choose music at random? Thanks for answering my question and for all you do to keep the world entertained. And that's from Sean. This is a very easy thing to answer, is that I've never edited we've always had editors for the podcast. In the beginning, Amanda did it out of her spare time because she did a lot of the editing for the podcast at Spill. After that, we had some basically like volunteers who were kind of like, hey, if you can spend 40 minutes helping me edit a podcast every week, I'll give you free access to the Patreon stuff. So we have a couple of volunteers that are currently working on that, and they are the ones who figure out the transition music. I think that kind of started maybe with either Amanda or maybe even before that, but then it just was a tradition that got picked up by the folks that worked after that. So
house rules, it's always Sarah McLachlan.
That's right. Let's see. Juho writes in and says, greetings, Master of Rage. I have a question. Have you ever played a game which became a better experience after your second playthrough? At the moment, my favorite game is Warhammer 40K Mechanicus, which is an XCOM style tactics game, which was really hard and confusing during the first playthrough. I've always had problems learning new strategy/RPG games, rules, and mechanics, and Mechanicus clicked on me just before the final boss, so I started a new playthrough soon after the first one, and oh man, was it great. I knew what kind of character builds to make and what kind of gear to use, and always kill those fucking death marks first, which are apparently enemy snipers who can teleport. Because the second playthrough was so fun, I'm already thinking of starting a third playthrough. Do you guys have any experiences like this one? Kind regards, and that is from Juho or Juho. I don't know how to say it.
I can't think of anything like that, because usually if it doesn't click for me on the first playthrough, I don't finish the first playthrough or start a second playthrough. So I can't really think of anything. I mean, I really like the first time I played Super Mario Kart, I didn't care for it because I was like, ugh, a racing game, blah, you know. But of course now, you know, it's one of my favorite games of all time. But I can't think of anything where I finished the storyline and then did it again and thought, oh, now I get it. You know, now it's clicking for me.
You think of like an RPG or something where you started, like a Dragon Age or something where you started and you were like, okay, I get what's going on here, but I picked the wrong class. I'm going to go back and make like a wizard instead of a fighter or something like that.
Oh, yeah, you know, well, one of the examples, and these are different games, but in the same franchise, like the Witcher games. Witcher 1 was cool. Witcher 2 was good too. Okay, but I didn't really but then you know, and I only played them a little bit and I just wasn't that into them. I was like, okay, yeah, this is neat, whatever. But then Witcher 3 comes out and it's just like, oh, this world, this character, the game, I love it. I get it now. It just blows me away, and I want to go back and just play all of them.
I think that I think I was trying to mentally sort through the games that I've played, and like there's see, for me, I think that it's more like there will be like a franchise that I don't like, and then a version, like a new version will come out, a new game will come out, and I'll be like, oh, I get it. Like I had no time for Smash until the last Smash Ultimate came out, and then I was like, oh, I get it. Like, this is really fun. I really enjoyed it. There was like a single player campaign that I could play instead of just playing online and getting my ass kicked by everybody like over and over again. I think that though maybe the thing that hews closest to the actual question for me is going to be like the Souls games or like even Bloodborne, where the first experience is so much getting used to just the mechanics of the world that once you're actually familiar with how the world works, then you can go back in and be like, okay, I know what I want. I want this magic build. I want this weapon. I want, you know, this style of armor. And that's probably the closest that I have an answer to the same thing, was just because that's, I don't know, of all the RPGs that I played over the years, Dark Souls is the one that I've delved deepest into the mechanics of, where like, you know, I don't know.
We know. We know.
Well, I mean, you know, like a lot of people get really deep into like Diablo, right? And
that's actually what I was going to say. I take it back. You know how I never play games over again, hardly ever. That's with Diablo 3. I have played through Diablo 3 all the way, like more than I can count.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, let's try Witch Doctor now. You know, let's try the Barbarian. So yeah, I have done it with that.
Yeah. So I don't know. It happens a little bit. But not really so much in the way that you're saying, where like it tends to be that if I'm playing a game and I'm not having as much fun with it, then I'll stop. Like you said earlier on, I'll stop playing it. Right. But if a game is fun and you keep playing it, there have been games where you get, you know, 10 hours into a game. I'm sure that Witcher 3 is probably like this just because of the fucking number of different things you can put points into, where you're like, suddenly I've unlocked this thing and I'm just like, oh, or you know what? Speaking of XCOM, there was that XCOM Chimera Squad game that came out last year, and there was one of the guys in that game who can literally shoot 2 times. And the thing is that over the course of that game, you get new recruits at certain checkpoints to add your squad. And I didn't pick that guy up until like the last recruitment point that I had, and I got him, and I was like, dude, fuck, what? I want to go back and start this game over with this guy, because he can literally, in a game where everybody can move once and shoot once, he's the one guy that can move and then shoot twice. And it's just like, are you kidding me with this? This is amazing. So, let's see. Tell you what, let's do one more of these, and then, tell you what, let's, this is an easy one, so we'll just do this one real quick. Marcus writes in and says, hello, Jason and Jeff. If you could take a vacation to a fictional place based on a movie or video game, which would you choose and why? I would like to visit Yorktown. I would like to visit Yorktown from Star Trek Beyond and Bioshock 1 pre-Rapture. Bioshock 1 pre-Rapture? Like the Rapture? Like before the shit went down? Because those places are beautiful.
That's what he's saying.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. I wanted to say to all the Rage Select folks, thanks for keeping us entertained during the pandemic. I know Rage Select is a humorous podcast, but y'all really helped us in a difficult time and have our eternal gratitude. Happy to be a patron. Keep the great work and stay awesome. And it's in Don Clee's name from Marcus. And it says, P.S. Castlevania Season 4 is awesome. No more shitty game adaptations. Try harder, Hollywood. Mortal Kombat 2021 is trash. I totally, oh my God, I couldn't agree more with the Mortal Kombat.
I got to the invisible lizard fight and was like, yeah, I'm going to head out.
You're smarter man than I. So if you could take a vacation to a fictional place based on a movie or video game, where would you go?
Man.
You know what? I bet the Mushroom Kingdom is a really relaxing place when Bowser is not like fucking around, like when it's just between Bowser attacks and everybody's just doing their thing.
That's what I was actually going to say. The Mushroom Kingdom, it's colorful, it's bright. Let's, walk around and green grass and hang out under a giant toadstool. Sounds pretty cool. Yeah.
I always like to cheat the answers on this. Can we just say, like, my favorite video game place to hang out would be The Sims 4, where it's really easy to just, like, buy a lot of furniture and fucking get laid all the time.
Yeah, I can't think of another though, but Mushroom Kingdom is really good. Everything else seems fraught with peril and insanity. I don't know.
I mean, again, you can always cheat and just be like, I'd like to go to the world of Grand Theft Auto, but live in like the version of Austin, Texas in Grand Theft Auto. Yeah. I don't know. This has been like a kind of a running question over the years, and I don't feel like I ever have a super, super good answer for it because I don't know. I like my own apartment, so I guess that's where The Sims comes into it. Let's see. We got a few more minutes here, so why don't we do some Discord questions? Let's see here. Let's see if I can find out where I left off. somebody was like, Jeff, you should start putting the little thumbs ups on the questions you've already answered so you don't get so lost about which questions you haven't answered. And I was like, okay, I will. And then Jason, as you can see, people started thumbs upping the various questions in my Discord. And I'm just like, well, what the fuck? So,
jackasses.
but I can see which ones are mine and which are other people. Let's see. We can do some of these real fast. Jonathan Scratch says, dear Jeff, Jason, what are the odds that Pac-Man is into vor? That's for Jonathan Scratch.
Oh, gross.
I don't know. I guess it all depends on whether Pac-Man is like to be taken literally or as like a metaphor. Like, you know, that shirt that went around for a long time of like the spaceman with the helmet that looked like Pac-Man, and then like the ghosts. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Like, is Pac-Man a metaphor for that, or is Pac-Man like literally about a yellow ball that eats pellets and ghosts? I don't know.
A lot of it seems very rave-like. A lot of rave colors and pills, and he's seeing ghosts. I think Pac-Man has some severe mental problems that may need to be looked at by Dr. Pac. Pac Doctor? I don't know.
Yeah. Pac Doc? Doc Pac?
Doc Pac.
I don't know. He's a Pac-Man. Doc Man? Is that what it is?
Doc Man.
I don't know. Kate Josie writes in and says, dear Jeff and Jason, you find yourself in an It Takes Two situation with one of your co-hosts. Which co-host would you prefer it to be and why? Which crazy situations would you guys be good at tackling and which would you be bad at? Choose from all the co-hosts that have ever co-hosted. Good luck. That seems like a really weird question for a podcast where I have like a specific co-host on where I'm like, well, I know who it is. Amanda, obviously.
I don't know what It Takes Two is. I don't.
Oh, you should. Matt and I have been playing it. Like, you remember? Do you remember A Way Out and Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons?
Oh, yes.
Okay, yeah. So that guy Joseph Ferris, who made those two, the kind of crazy indie developer guy, he made this game, and it came out this year. And Matt and I are actually playing it for a sequential, and it's called It Takes Two, and it's a fully co-op game about a husband and wife who get turned into these little puppets when they're going to get a divorce, and their daughter is like, I wish my parents didn't get divorced, and then they turn into these little golems, and they go on these like co-op adventures. And the whole thing is that the game never has the same mechanics for more than about 10 minutes. And so they'll be like, this level here is you're inside of a tree outside, and one person has a gun that shoots fuel, and the other person has a launcher that shoots matches to ignite the fuel. And so you've got to like work together to hose down obstacles. Or there's another level that Matt and I played last week that's like just fucking Diablo. It's just two-player Diablo with these two characters. It's really crazy because this guy, his whole design philosophy is that he doesn't like anything to stay the same for very long. So like all the mechanics go by. Like in one episode, you'll go through 3 different sets of mini games, each one of which is a separate type of game with different mechanics. Like there'll be in this one, we've got a balance in order to drive a boat like around a thing. And in this one, it's a shooter. And in this one, it's like, oh, it's a co-op platformer where I move the crane, but you have the swings power, you know.
That sounds like a good way to get a divorce.
It's actually really great, except that in the last episode, Jason, you saw it. These two are idiots. These two people are idiots. Like they get turned into these dolls when their daughter cries. And so these two geniuses decide the only way to get turned back into humans is to make their daughter cry again. So they get her favorite stuffed animal, and there's a part in the game where they get this adorable elephant that is just talking to them in this really cute voice, and they like drag it across this area. Like at one point, like a pin falls in its ear, and they just rip the ear off, and like the leg comes off, and the stuffed animal's screaming the entire time, and they throw it off the side of a dresser, and it lands on their daughter's bed, and she's like, oh my God. She starts crying, and they run underneath her tears and bathe in her tears to get cured, and then it doesn't work, and it's like, yeah, you idiots, what did you think was gonna happen?
This sounds insane.
It's one of the best games I played this year. Like, hands down, bar none, unqualified. Wow. Like, Matt and I have been playing it. It's been a blast, like a total blast to play with other people. There was a space level. There was a dinosaur level. There's a pirates level. There was a fucking... Matt had to street fight a squirrel on the side of a biplane inside of a magical tree full of squirrels and wasps that were at war with each other. Like, there were a bunch of power tools that were trying to kill us at one point in like a shed. It's insane and great. Sorry, I didn't mean to just make this a commercial for It Takes Two.
No,
but like,
that sounds really cool.
Yeah. I really would recommend it to anybody who needs like a co-op game because it's fun. It's also long too. I don't know. I mean, like, I'm not just saying this because I'm doing this podcast with Jason, but I feel like, Jason, you would be the one who'd be like, when I said, let's make the cute stuffed animal, let's break our daughter's favorite animal and then bathe in the tears that fall from her eyes. I feel like you'd be like, that sounds like I don't know what else to do, man. I'm tired of being a weird immortal doll man. So yeah. That'd be great. I'd love for somebody to go and make a comic book of what happens when Jason and Jeff get turned into these weird adventuring guys. And just like, dude, fuck this place. Let's kill all these squirrels. I hate these squirrels.
Let's kill the dolls.
Yeah,
that's the solution.
Yeah. Let's see. Dan K, I don't know, Jason, if this one might work for you, but Dan K writes in and says, "Dear Jeff and Jason, would love a quick 2020 top games rundown. Won't keep you married to your list, but would love to hear some of the stuff that you thought rose to the top." And that's from Dan K. I don't know. Did you get a chance to play that many games in 2020, Jason?
No. Did Control come out in 2020?
No, that was actually 2019, I believe.
Yeah, I did not. I play. I think all the games I played came out like 20. Okay, these are 2020 games right here.
These are 2020 games.
Yeah, you're showing me. Mm-hmm. Okay, Last of Us Part 2 is the best game of 2020. That's it.
Oh, okay.
The end.
Yeah, I wouldn't even put it on my list. I hated that game so much.
I know. I thought it was a remarkable work of genius.
Cool. I'm way past trying to make people like the last thing in the world I would ever want to do is be like, hey, friend of mine, let me berate you until you don't like something that you used to like.
No, you have joy that I disagree with.
Boo. Let's see. I think that the can I get like a full list? So okay, for me, I've thought about it a lot, and I know that Hades is the top of my list. Like, Hades is the best fucking game I played in 2020, bar none.
I gotta play that.
Let's see. I really liked Ori and the Will of the Wisps was a really, really good one. Some of these things, like, Persona 5 Royale, man, that I didn't play that. And a lot of these things, like Final Fantasy. See, that's the problem, is everybody puts Final Fantasy VII, Doom Eternal, and Last of Us at the top of their list, and I didn't like any of those. Or I liked Doom Eternal, all right, but I didn't think it was nearly as good as Doom 2016. So, Spider-Man Miles Morales is kind of like it's kind of an expansion. I really, really liked Neo 2. That's probably on there. Ghost of Tsushima is definitely on there. Did you ever try Ghost of Tsushima?
No, I'd really like to. I did play Miles Morales, which that's neck and neck with Last of Us 2. I thought Miles Morales is one of the best Spider-Man games ever made, if not the best. It was really good. You know what? No, the other Spider-Man, that one was better. But Miles Morales
just
was
the OG
regular,
one. Yeah.
But yeah, God, phenomenal games.
Desperados 3 was a crazy. I put a crazy amount of hours into Desperados 3, which I did not expect. Streets of Rage 4 was actually a really, really, really good like beat 'em up.
I bought all of the Desperados games. I really enjoyed the first one way back when it first came out, but I haven't spent any time with any of them since.
So Desperados 3 was made by a company called Mimimi. I don't know if you've seen this, but they made a game called Shadow Tactics: Blades of the Shogun.
Oh yeah.
which had that same kind of like top down, like kind of set up a plan and then execute. But the thing is that Desperados 3 ties your camera to like a character by default, which makes it infinitely better. Dude, if you have not played Desperados 3, that game is so good and so fun, and it's got a wonderful story that jumps all over the place. Like, it's got 5 different characters, and they always put you with a different like lineup so that you're forced to do different things with different characters. They'll take away powers. It was absolutely delightful. No, I never expected to like it as much as I did, and then I just ended up like all the way in it. So
I'm gonna have to prioritize that, because right around the time it came out, I also bought the Shadow Tactics thing, or whatever it was called, that one you were talking about. So I've got all of those on Steam, but like most of the games I purchase on Steam, they're just to show. They're just to sit there in my library and never be played, apparently.
also, again, I did not expect this to be the thing, but Immortals Phoenix Rising came out in 2020, and I really like, that's been the only Ubisoft game in years that I have really, really liked. I think it's kind of a criminal the way that they shortchanged the development on that to the point where the cutscenes are kind of ugly. Like, they're very using canned animation and not very dynamic camera angles. But if they had like cleaned up a lot of that stuff and put a little bit more time and effort into it, like, it was great. I mean, it was, again, like I said, it's like a Breath of the Wild ripoff in a lot of ways, but like, it's fun. The combat's good. The exploration is good. The puzzles were good. I like the story. It was really, really good. Let's see.
You recommended that to me. It sounded like a lot of fun.
Yep. I'm trying to think if there was anything on the Switch outside of, I mean, Hades, I think it was on the Switch, but I played that on the PC. The Super Mario 3D All-Stars was good, but I didn't really get that much in. I mean, that was a re-release. The Bowser's Fury was really interesting, but I just didn't really get into that either. So yeah, I don't know. Those are probably some of the ones. I really want to play Half-Life Alyx, but I didn't have a VR solution for it. So
was that 2020?
Absolutely.
Have you played any Half-Life Alyx?
Have not, but I heard nothing but good stuff.
I don't even think good does it justice. I haven't finished it, but I played a little. I played a few hours of it over at Brian's and on his Vive, and it is one of the most remarkable gaming experiences I have ever had. It was staggering. I found myself on my hands and knees at 2:00 in the morning in the middle of the empty recording studio at Modern Rogue headquarters, like trying to duck from bullets. And all I could see was just like them shooting broken glasses over my head, and the glass was tinkling and raining down all around me. And I had to crawl over to get some bullets. It was, I can't even, my description does not even do it justice. It was amazing.
I've seen, it's like one of the first times I've ever seen a VR game be so consistently on everybody's Game of the Year lists. And so I really, 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 really want to play it, but I just need to get a PC that can do that first. And unfortunately, one of the biggest problems right now is getting a fucking video card for your fucking PC. So,
yeah, it's, I highly recommend it, because it is really a groundbreaking experience. And like, man, nothing will pucker your butthole like playing, like knowing that there's a head crab in a dark room in VR.
Oh man, do you get the grabber things, the like where you walk into the thing and it pulls you up into the ceiling?
Oh, that's the fun thing. You're walking around Half-Life and you think, oh god, I know that sound. I know that sound. I know that sound. I know that sound. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. And as everything starts to come together, it's like, oh yeah, remember the ceiling grabbers? Yeah, constant pain in the ass. Head crabs, still there. It's all your old favorites, but now they're in your face, and it is a scary, intense game that sometimes you just have to pull off your headset and go, all right, I can't do anymore. I gotta go to bed.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me just look through here real fast. Yeah, We're just about. I tell you what. Here's an easy one to cap everything off with. Professor Fett writes in and says, "Dear Jeff, Jason, I have a quick food question for you. How would you make your perfect grilled cheese? Kind of cheese, butter, mayo to crisp bread. Also, do you dip it in tomato soup? I never got that honestly, but apparently it's a thing. Thanks for keeping the podcast going. It's one of the two I even listen to. Oh, that's nice. That's from Professor Fett. So, Jason, do you grill the cheese? Are you a grilled cheese aficionado?
I would ask my wife to make a grilled cheese for me. That's the perfect recipe.
Yeah,
I've never grilled cheese before.
It's
true.
It's not that difficult.
I think I understand the idea behind it, but yeah, I don't do that. I'm not even allowed to touch things in the kitchen after a few incidences.
Oh, geez. Were you watching too much Gordon Ramsay on YouTube? I think you're just like, I'm gonna make a prime rib.
And then I wake up in the ER with like steak sauce smeared in my beard, and they're talking about The Hague and taking me there. It's a whole thing.
I don't know. I mean, like the thing with grilled cheese is that it's very basic. So I feel like you go either one of two different directions, right? I actually watched several videos on grilled cheese, and the problem is that like if you want the stretch in grilled cheese, then you really want like American cheese, because it's not really cheese, but it melts really well and it stretches really well.
Yeah.
So like if I was going to do it, I would probably say, your basic, right, is 2 pieces of white bread with fucking American cheese in the middle of it. Bing, bang, boom, and a can of Campbell's tomato soup, and you're done. But, if you got yourself a nice piece of sourdough bread and then maybe put American cheese and like some cheddar and I don't know. You know what I really like, Jason, is I like it when they put like tomatoes in the middle of the grilled cheese and they're all like warm and stuff. So, yeah.
Like a little, like some spices on there, like maybe some, like a little tiny bit of paprika maybe. And definitely dip it into the tomato soup. Absolutely.
Where did I had grilled cheese somewhere where like on the outside, it's like when they put the butter or whatever on the outside, then they put like cheese. They put like Parmesan or something on the outside. So it had like a cheese on the outside. Oh shit. We should make a grilled cheese Monte Cristo. Where you like,
yes,
make a grilled cheese and then batter it and deep fry it.
Yes.
In cheese.
I want it. Ever since Bennigan's closed down, I haven't had a good Monte Cristo.
Oh man, that's a blast from the past. Bennigan's. All right, and that's it. That's podcast 400. 400 of these motherfuckers I've done over the years. Which also, if you could do the math of 50 podcasts a year, relatively -1 for the week that I take off, means that I think that at the beginning of last month, we hit 8 years of Rage Select, which is frankly ridiculous. Frankly, it's just ridiculous. That's how is this still a thing? How am I not out of business by now? Is really just a question that I don't have the answer to, but
okay. I was waiting with bated breath. I was like, what is the answer?
I don't know. I mean, like, the people have come, people have gone. Here's let's see. Fuse came out on Fuse from Rage Select, our very first game. Poor Fuse was May 30th. So yeah, we're just like a few days outside of 8 years. It's May 30th of 2020 or 2013. 2013. 2013.
It's like some of our listeners are probably like being born around then.
Jason, I want you to consider that when we started Rage Select, like right around there, was the beginning of Obama's second term.
Wow.
So we literally went through 2 presidents between the beginning of Rage Select and right now. Well, no, 3, I guess. We're now at number 3, right? We've had 3 presidents at the beginning of Rage Select.
Good Lord, dude. This is... Oh, we're still doing this?
Yep. Yep. Yep, we totally are. So... Yeah, 400. All right, you can come back on when we get to 800, Jason. I'll let you know when I'm. We'll see.
Yeah, keep me posted.
I'll be 51. You'll be 50. What? 100, 54, 56.
Yeah,
59.
I hope to have achieved lichhood.
Okay.
Lichhood, lichness. Hope to get my lich on by then.
Lichitude. We'll tell the people where they can find products that Jason has made.
I have a novel called Killer Candy. It is the first in a series of comedic paranormal adventures. It is available exclusively on Amazon. Please check that out. There will be a prequel novella available soon as well.
All right. And mail@ragesite.com is the email address if you want to send in some questions. I always need more questions. Don't ever not send in questions, even if we don't ask the questions. And then I think that's it. I think that's good enough. I think we've successfully managed to podcast. I think we've done it.
We podcasted. Yay! So after 400, you're just like, okay, we got it now. We did it. We can stop.
Yeah, pretty much.